certified dementia practitioner, an experienced memory care leader with a true passion for helping people living with dementia. Let me go off script here for a minute. I met Kelly when I went ahead and did a tour of memory care. And I was so impressed with how she ran memory care and how good she was with the, I don't know if we call it, with the residents that are in memory care. It was phenomenal. And so I went to Maurice and I said, we need to bring somebody like Kelly over here to speak, because I don't think that any of us want to go to memory care. But if we did, it would be a good place, because she really does good, but I'm not going. But in the interim, we have people who are here who have some cognitive issues. You know, our brain starts to age, we miss out on things. We're sitting next to somebody who may be at the beginning of some cognitive impairments, in the middle of them, and we're having trouble talking to them. And I thought that this would be a wonderful person to come and to speak and to let us know how to do this in a gentle, wonderful way. So, come up, Kel.
And I'm super excited, thanks Lynn, and I'm super excited to have somebody that has the same passion for what I have. Like I tell everybody that I spend more time here than I do at my own house, because they don't listen, probably, those kids that live at my house. But in all fun and honesty, I absolutely love what I do, and I always feel like everything that the residents that I have, we call them neighbors because they are technically our neighbors when you think of it that way. If I could give you a whole list of people, you would go, oh, I remember her, I know him, I know him. You know, I can't tell you that, but you probably already know who's over there. If you don't, you can always come and volunteer and come say hi and watch a movie and eat popcorn with us one day, or play the ukulele. So when we have people that are, you know, you and I have gone to different functions here, parties, dances, dinners, happy hours, and I get to know you, to me that's a gift, because it only makes me better at what I do, because you'll be doing seminars for me one day in the near future, if that is your journey, right? You're going to be teaching music class. You're going to be jamming all day long, right? Those are those things that we talk about personal-centered care, is that you don't lose who you are. Just like if you had diabetes, we're not going to treat you different now that you have diabetes, right? It's just a disease process. We're going to keep you doing the same things that you loved, and just kind of the hurdles that may come along, then that's what we're going to fix. And I think it's probably the thing I say the most is that every behavior is a form of communication. Sometimes we don't have the words. Just like us now, when you think of it, even 20 years ago, right? Sometimes you get mad and you're like, right? That's a behavior. You're upset, you're punching something, or you're just like rolling your eyes. It's all communication. We just don't want to tell our husband that he forgot the milk when you went to the store for the milk. And now you're upset because now you can't bake the cake or something, right? So this is what we're doing. Thank you, Lynn, for kind of giving us the opportunity to resolve something, or maybe educate us on things. How many people, show of hands, know somebody with brain changes? Anybody? Everybody? Okay, we're done. We all know. No, absolutely, right? We all know, and it doesn't have to go on forever, right? Like tomorrow we might not know that person or those people, right? Because it comes and goes. I know one thing that I'll pass out to you guys just so you can take it home or look at it while I talk. I thought there's like 13 to 14 types of dementia, and I thought if I just rattled off all the facts, it would be kind of boring. So I thought I would just stick with one, and I'm going to talk about vascular dementia. Sounds so exciting, doesn't it? I'm going to pass this out. Take one and pass pass it down. And this is how I explain it to like staff. Hi, Parfait. This is how I explain this to people that I work with, people that come to visit. I think the majority of my training and things that I do at work is actually the family members, the sisters, the brothers, the husbands, the wives. I've got everybody on memory care taken care of, but it's re-educating the families that come, right? I have one that comes down like twice a year and they want to tell their sister, no, mom and dad died. And then she's sad for 3 days because now she remembers that mom and dad died. Or she doesn't remember and now she's grieving again, all over again. So my point is, I spend more time training, educating, and supporting our family members, our friends, siblings, to the people that are coming to the neighborhood. So I thought, why not talk about it with you guys? And this is one of the reasons, or the ways that I kind of communicate with vascular dementia, is just look at it like a house. How many of you put their phone on the charger, and your charger just isn't what it used to be? And you kind of have to like manipulate it, maybe put a napkin under it, and if you just move it the right way, now your phone is charging, right? It's the same kind with vascular dementia. Sometimes your brain is spot on. Talking about, oh my gosh, Lynn, the dinner we had last night, Chef George the steak was perfect. And you're like, oh, tell me about it. Tell me about the steak. Like, what else did you have? Did you go to the dinner afterwards? And then, the dinner was great, the happy hour was great, and then 2 seconds later, maybe that person is saying, well, I've got to go because my mommy's going to expect me home. It's almost 9. And you're like, what? Your mommy is going to be home, right? So the brain is not getting enough blood flow, right? So the current in the house, the lights might not be in all of the windows at that moment. But if you wait 10 seconds or an hour, now the lights are on again, and now she's telling you, your friend is telling you, remember, we're going to go swimming tomorrow morning. Do you want me to meet you at the pool at 10? Sure, 10 sounds fine. 10 o'clock comes and she's not at the pool. Those types of things. Now, what can we do to fix that? We're not the doctors. There's really no exact science behind like what causes it. I mean, the list is on and on. There's lots of things that cause vascular dementia. But things that we can do to help it, obviously eating healthy, hydrating, exercise, and turning on the light bulbs, right? Stimulating our minds, moving, walking, exercise, singing, playing a guitar, playing a ukulele. Any kind of stimulation is going to get the blood flowing, and it's going to go all the way up to our brain, and it's going to help those thoughts come a little bit better and a little bit quicker. But the most important thing in my mind is the support of people that knew me, that were friends with me, that know me now, that knew me before, that can maybe talk to me and say, tell your mom I said hi when you go home tonight. What was you know what I mean? To communicate with them when they're in that spot that you're not really familiar with. And it's hard because it's almost embarrassing sometimes, right? I was just at church 2 weekends ago, and I haven't seen somebody in probably about maybe 5 or 6 years. She might be in her 80s, and she thought I was my sister. She said, oh, you know, my sister's like a 0, so I don't know how that was confusing to her, but you know, it's okay. She got the stories mixed up, and it was embarrassing because I didn't know. And I was like, no, it's Kelly, because everybody gets siblings mixed up. I'm thinking, she's fine. And then another friend told me, no, she's not doing all that great cognitively. There's some changes going on. So I know it could be embarrassing or put on the spot if you're in maybe an engagement, a party, a dining atmosphere, happy hour, something like that. Has anybody ever experienced that here?
So how do you say that then? Here you are, sitting next to somebody,
Okay.
all right? And we're talking about how good the food is. Food is so good, and they're telling me how great it is, it's wonderful, and then they turn around and they've totally lost the train of thought. They're completely in another avenue.
So, like a scenario, if we're doing a dinner scenario, right? And you guys are all talking about stuff. The dinner's good, oh my God, it's taking so long for it to come out, wonder what's going on. And now they're talking about their cat that they lost. And did you see my cat? And you're like, well, Lynn, what was your cat's name again? I remember you loved cats.
Remember, he was Charlie. Remember
Charlie? Oh, what color, what kind of cat?
He was a yellow, he was a yellow.
Yellow cat? Oh,
He was a yellow cat.
I like cats more than I like dogs. What about you?
Yeah.
Right? I call it joining the journey. There's no sense of saying, Lynn, there's no cat. We're in the dining room. There's no cat running around the dining room. So, and you don't have to join that same journey for a long time. You could say, Lynn, do you mind helping me pick out a dessert? I can't decide whether I want the cookie or the cream pie. What do you prefer? Yes and no's are very helpful, right? Going into an elaborate, can you tell me how to get to Publix might not work. But if you say, would you like to go to Publix with me? Or do you shop at Publix? Things like that. Touching somebody that you were friends with, like holding their hand in a moment when they're having, when they're off kilter cognitively, like if they're saying the cat just ran by, and it might not be that serious. It might be very, very vague, right? It just like, oh, I'm so hungry when you just see them eat their food. And you might be like, oh, well, why don't you order more food? But they might have forgotten that they already ate, right? Sometimes we're aware when we don't know what's going on. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I'm looking for my phone and I call my daughter to see if she's seen my phone. And she's like, Mom, it's time. And I'm like, well, I can't afford Village on the Green, so you're stuck with me. So it just sometimes it's very vague, right? Or you forget where you put the keys or things like that. So you can be the same. You can match the energy. So if you have somebody like, say, one of your servers that have served your table for years, and your friend that you eat with for years says, oh, hi, Joe. I'm gonna take my usual, okay? And then now on an off day, she doesn't know who Joe is, and she doesn't know she has a usual, right? That's why we come in handy, because Joe might kind of help with that. Joe might say, Lynn, did you still want your shrimp cocktail first? You usually get your shrimp cocktail. Do you want me to bring that out to you now? And then sometimes we'll just kind of go along with it, right? Just like I went along with it when I had my phone in my, I was joking you, I really knew what I had. So those are the types of things that we can do. I think also, another couple of things is, if you know somebody that's struggling, or that you Pam is a great resource, okay? Because not only that, if you're having an off day one day, Lynn, and you're like, listen, she was just in the dementia class, the seminar, the speak with Kelly, and now something's not right. Well, maybe something's going on medically that's an easy fix, but nobody wants to talk about it, right? Talk to Pam if you know somebody that, like, we were just golfing 3 days ago. Like, I don't know what's going on. Because there are sometimes, there's alcohol-induced dementia that has a lot to do with, vascular stuff too. It comes and goes. I hope that's not me, but, it could be. Just kidding.
Are there different levels before you go into memory care? What are some of the...
So in our neighborhood, what we have is all different stages, if you will, of dementia. So that's why we have different programming for what stage the person is exhibiting at the time. What I always tell people when I meet with families and they're like, hey, I think it's time, Carla and I work really, really close, and Nessie, very close together, because just because you don't remember, you're not gonna remember over there, so why not stay at home with what you do remember?
Well, how long can you stay at home?
Because you can stay there forever if you wanted to. If you have the means, And if you have the sanity for your loved one and you don't want to go to divorce court, like, you know what I mean? Like, it depends on your spouse. Like, if your spouse is super active and feels like, listen, I have to go play golf and pickleball twice a week, and I have to do my shopping, so I'm going to ask home health to come in and take my husband to the card class and this class and whatever it may be, or just hang out at home while he watches Jeopardy, right? What I always tell people, that can actually absolutely happen. We can make that happen if that's what you want. My biggest thing is safety and the health of the person that's doing the caregiving. Like, you have to be able to sleep. So sleeping is huge, right? We can't go very long without sleeping. My daughter's going through some medical stuff, and the medicine that she's on, she hasn't slept in like 4 days, so like she had to go see her doctor, because it's like you start getting loopy, right? So if some of the residents that I have over there now are women, and I talk to their husbands, and when I see them, it's like, I haven't slept in days because I'm afraid so-and-so's gonna walk out the door. Well, yeah, then that's when we start saying, they can walk around memory care, they can go into their dining room, they can go into the activities, they can go outside in the courtyard. I go on outings every single Wednesday. We do fun, amazing things. We have music, all the same stuff you guys have here we do. I have happy hour, themed dinners, all that. But we're a secured unit. Nobody can get out unless they're with somebody. So now, when you see that the anxiety level from the family members diminish, because they're like, I know she's safe. I know if she wants to get up and walk across the room and wear 3 dresses and think she's looking for a cat, she's happy. I don't have to worry about it when I'm trying to go get, my eye exam and pick her medicine up at Publix, that she's at home looking for the cat next to the alligator pond. You know what I mean? Like, those are real concerns. So, I don't think that just because you have a diagnosis or you know that this is your future, because this day and age, people can get tested for that. How many people do that? Like, do your doctors ask that question? Do you want to get tested to see if you have any kind of, I know my husband did, because his mom and dad both had Alzheimer's, so they did, he chose not to. His brother chose to, and he's like, yeah, you have the gene or whatever. Well, my husband's living his best life. He's like, I won't remember if I have it, so I might as well do my thing. So I don't know if it's for everybody to find out. I think for some people, maybe it helps them. But, so does that answer your question a little bit about when you should go over? It's all about what it looks like for your family and your journey. If you have the means to do that, you gotta also too, it depends on what kind of dementia too, because there's the vascular dementia would be a very easy one to stay home. Okay, it's not something where it's frontal temporal lobe, or if it's something where there's a lot of hallucinations or outbursts and angry outbursts and things like that, were a little bit more hard for the heart. Having your loved one say, hey, you're robbing me. No, honey, it's me. I'm not robbing you. I was just taking your plate away. I'm calling the police because you just took me. That kind of stuff is hard for the caregiver to deal with on a daily basis, and that's why we're here. So some of the things that we can maybe talk about when we do have our friends with us, it's more about what not to say, I think. Turning their back and saying, oh my God, here comes Lynn. Oh, she's gonna look for that crazy cat again. Hang on, pretend maybe she won't see us, right? Because they already know something's not right. We feel it, just like when you feel like, oh, my heart's pounding, maybe I had too much caffeine, or I'm probably dehydrated. We know what's going on with your body. We might not be able to put our finger on it, but that's really hard. Just to have somebody see us, hear us, and be there. My thing is, you guys are all everybody's friends. I mean, maybe not everybody, but you know what I mean. We're all friendly, right? So when we have friends, what does that mean? We like them because maybe they're funny. I don't know, maybe they buy us wine at happy hour. I don't know, maybe they're loyal. They're good, there's all kinds of things why we are friends. So just because this happens doesn't mean we should lose that thought process, right? So you're like, oh my God, Lynn is so sweet, she'd give me the shirt off her back. Well, then why now am I not gonna help her look for the cat for 5 seconds? It just takes 4 seconds of my day to say, hey, Kelly, the cat's fine. Lynn, the cat's fine, whatever the case may be. Or if you know somebody has an issue with like remembering what they like to drink, be like, oh, sit down, tell me about your day. Yeah, she's gonna have a Diet Coke, a glass of wine, and she likes shrimp cocktail. Joe, if you could get that for us, thank you. Now that's just helping, right? Holding someone's hand when you can see that they're a little bit maybe teary-eyed or questioning what's around them, or they look lost, just holding their hand and going, or for you guys, punching them in the arm, hey buddy, I got this, you got this. Those types of things are friendly, and that's what friendship is, right? Maybe remembering something about them, like, hey, I heard your kids are coming into town next week, right? Oh, maybe that's going to start getting the blood flow, their thinking process, back on track of what they're missing out on. Maybe helping take notes for them, or maybe even coming together, and if you have a particular person that you know is suffering or dealing with some new cognitive changes, maybe having maybe a support group, Don't you still do the support group? Yeah. I don't know how you would get, sometimes men are harder. I know you guys are saying, no, we're not, but sometimes men are harder to open up and say, yeah, I need some help. I know Chaplain Tom used to do a nice counseling session too about that. I think too, talking to some of the people that their wives are over there now, maybe talking to them and having them get some advice from them. But I think I actually have something here that I made notes on about. You might laugh because it's kind of obvious, but things you don't want to say. I already told you that. It's one of my favorite ones that I heard. I just told you that dinner's at 5:30. I already told you. Okay. Welcome to my world. I feel like I have Tourette's half the time. Bing bong, doing all kinds of little things. Don't you remember me? It's me. Well, no, they're not, they might not. Or they do, but they just can't make the connection because the blood flow's not there to push it out, just like the light bulb, right? So if you're like, yeah, it's me, Kelly. Remember, but that's in a different way. We just had dance class last night. You might have known each other and seen each other every day of the week for the last 7 months, but not to make them feel bad, not to make us feel like we are forgetful. No, you're wrong. That wasn't a cat. There's no cat here. That's why I say joining the journey. What do you have, dementia or something? Which, depending on what resident you are, I know there's a lot of comedians here, so that could be something that somebody would say. We always joke around and say we should, instead of 401k, we should just see if I can contribute money to be over there, just to have a spot. So, does anybody have any questions or yes?
Okay, I have some friends. They live at home, not in the community, and the wife is gone somewhere in her mind. Her husband is beyond frustrated because she won't open up. What can he do?
Open up meaning telling him
What's going on? What she's thinking?
because she probably has no idea. She has no idea what's going on herself.
Really?
Yeah, when I say about the different stages of dementia, right? We call that not even you don't know it's Monday, right? You have no idea that it's even Monday right now, right? But what he could do is she's not probably gonna say, hey, I'm feeling really bad today, and I was hungry, but my stomach's upset and I haven't slept all night and I had super amount of anxiety last night about all that. She's not gonna be able to say that, but he can say that. He can ask her, how are you feeling? Are you scared to be alone when I go to the store? So he's gotta It's probably the way it's been in the relationship, right? She might have been the talker and the doer, right? So it's just the roles are gonna have to reverse now. And then I don't know if there is a support group for him. There's Senior One that's right on Douglas Avenue that has a lot of resources. And I heard Village on the Green's a really nice place to live. So you might want to tell him. But yes, she might not ever be able to tell them that. Just like I say, every behavior is like a form of communication in my world. So when I have staff members that say, oh, Kelly thinks she knows how to do this and give a shower, like, oh, it's not that easy. Well, because I lead off of them. I had a lady there Friday that I stayed here late. She hasn't had a shower in like 3 weeks. So what I did is I walked in and I asked the med tech or the nurse that night to go ahead and make sure she got her medication so she's calm and relaxed. And when I walked in, I said, well, how are you? And she's like, terrible. I haven't eaten in 3 days. I'm starving. They won't give me food. And I said, well, that's because I have a VIP snack for you. It's complimentary. It's amazing. She's like, you do? I said, absolutely. So the other care staff walked this person into the spa, and I had like, you know, those old, not a TV tray, but like breakfast in bed tray. And I got an incher, I grabbed some crackers, I grabbed a banana, I grabbed a little napkin, and I went down there. The clothing and all the items that we needed were already in the room. She sat in our spa, it's like a big jacuzzi, and I put that on there and I let her eat it for a little bit. She was so happy. And I said, let me get a cushion for you. I told her to stand up, put a cushion down, and that's when we started the bath. She did not even hesitate. Was she able to tell me what she wanted? Yes. Did she eat? Absolutely. She's eaten 3 square meals a day. But she's not going to be able to tell somebody that I'm scared about being in a shower, because she might not be scared. That person might think she's already had a shower, and why are you telling me, a grown woman, that I need to go get naked in front of you and take a shower? So she might not, your friend has been doing all of these things and very independent her whole life. It shouldn't change. We just have to make sure that we give the opportunity for them to express themselves in different ways. Yeah.
Should he take her to a psychiatrist?
For your friend, the husband?
No.
I mean, he might need counseling. You know, there's counseling he could go to talk to somebody about it.
Oh, but I mean take her
Um,
to get diagnosed.
but if she's been diagnosed with dementia,
No, she won't open up, so he doesn't know what's going on, that she's not okay.
oh, well then I would definitely seek medical attention and ask the, primary. I think he should call and just say, hey, something's not right with my wife, because if it's not dementia, then who knows what's going on? Yeah, maybe he has dementia. And she's like, he thinks he's, right? Like, who knows what's going on? Yeah, I thought you meant she had dementia and she's just not opening up anymore to him. But yeah, if she's used to being the talker and the planner and now she's not, yeah, it could be. I mean, who wants to admit when we forget things, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to admit it. A lot of times we are going to know when we're not remembering. And people, I mean, our brain is a beautiful thing. Lynn knows that. That's what she does. She studies people's brains in a way, right? So what are we going to do? Just like when I'm trying to lose weight at home, do you think I put the Oreos on the counter? No, I hide them in the frozen pea bag in the freezer. Like, we know how to finesse, right? So when we're forgetful, we're gonna finesse that way too. Well, I don't even feel like going. You don't feel like going? No, I'm not feeling good, I don't feel like going, I got a lot of work to do. But it's dinner time. Oh, like I said, I'm not feeling good. No, they just don't understand why they don't remember what to do, and now they're gonna finesse by saying, I don't wanna go. The person might have to kind of talk to you about it in a different way. Like, no, Kelly, we're just gonna go to, oh, all right, I'll go to dinner. I'll go to dinner.
What's the difference between an aging brain and somebody who has the beginning of dementia?
I don't know the medical term or not, but when have an aging brain, what happens when we age? We retire. We don't have children at home anymore. Maybe our, physical health is not what it used to be. We're not, climbing Machu Picchu anymore, right? We can barely get around the mall before we have to sit down. So all of those are aging things, right? So kind of the same thing with dementia. Our brain is not doing any of those things anymore. They're not talking, they're not seeing people, so it's almost, they've done studies where they can actually see your brain getting smaller, and I'm sure you probably know some of that. Your brain is getting smaller when we age, but when we're not getting stimulated, even when we don't have dementia, it can cause dementia. It can cause us to have problems cognitively, where it's just short-term little, forgot my keys is a bad example because we all don't know where we put stuff, right? How many times do we you make an appointment but you remember that you can't do it on Thursday and then you forget to call, those types of things. Sometimes it looks like anxiety too, where you're just all flustered. So I think one of the biggest components of companionship and friendship for the brain is that stimulation, knowing somebody's there for you. I was just talking to you about it, like music, right? My guy that's the member of the Ranch Hand Band, and I gotta say it like that. It just doesn't make sense if I don't say Ranch Hand Band. When I have a musician come in, and for the most part, he just sits there, and very cordial, he's a pastor. But when that guitar gets in that man's hand and he's listening, he's singing all the songs, it's like the brain is beautiful. It's just like getting cortisone shots in my knee. I'm like, oh, I could walk, I'm looking great, right? So the brain is actually remembering what it loved and what it was talented at and brought joy, and the endorphins are released, and it's such a beautiful thing. That's why music is such a big component, but so is just conversation and touch. Like I try to touch every single one of my people every day, multiple times a day, even if it's on the back or I'll fix their hair. Even a simple compliment, like, oh my God, you look great in red. Even though she's had the same red shirt on for 3 days, but she looks great in red, right? So that is super important, and those are things that you guys can do every day. Just using someone's name will make our brain react.
How responsible should we be to somebody? Example, if I go to art class, okay, and there's a great art teacher, and we're all sitting there doing art, and this specific person comes in and requires much more attention from the art instructor.
Mm-hmm.
How patient do I have to be? I mean, after all, I paid for being here, and I'm here taking these courses, and why should I give up my time for this person?
Well, I think that's two different parts of that question, or the answer. Number one, how patient do you want me to be when it's your time? Do you still want to do art? Do you still want to go to dining with your friends and have a glass of wine? So you have to think too, right? It could be me one day. So I'm going to be as patient as, treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated, kind of thing. So put it in the perspective of that. Like, I'm trying to get into the golden gates of heaven, so I'm hoping that I'm putting my time in for that. So, but it's all individual. What you could do if you're like, you know what, I don't have time for this, maybe I'll be a little bit more patient at dinner because she sits at my table. But Mary that doesn't know it's Sunday, she's gonna have to paint the flowers on her own today, or we can use our resources within our village, right? It takes a village. Say to Maurice, or maybe even Pam, say, hey, do you know if we can get in touch with Mary's parents, Mary's kids, and ask them if they would be willing to have a companion from home health go to art class, because I know she was an art teacher, I know she went to Paris, I know art is her everything. So now we facilitated where you can have your fun, now you guys can be friends, you don't have to be a quote-unquote caregiver, but now she has somebody there that's a companion that is gonna join the journey and help her with that process. So those are things we can do. Yes?
I'm thinking about, like, our executive function, how organizing tasks to, like, get out the door. I'm thinking particularly of my mother in her final years. It was like, she just recognizing that you put your clothes on and you have your food in, and are there workarounds to
Absolutely.
helping people stay on track? And because if you want to include them, you need them to be able to get out the door.
Absolutely. If you want somebody to go to yoga class every Thursday at 2 and they can't make it at 2, but they still use their phone, maybe start texting that person. And now that you know that they also go to dinner at 5 and they don't remember 5 o'clock is dinner time, and you don't have dinner with them, but maybe just giving them a little text saying, hey, I'll see you at dinner at 5. Because now she's still independent in her mind, right? Or has independence without feeling like, oh my gosh, she thinks I forgot when dinner is. It's like, oh, I'll see you at dinner at 5. That's just a normal text that we would do with our friends, right? You just would continue that. But yes, there is lots of little things that we can do. I do it every day. I have a lady that you guys probably know well, but she cared about how she looked, dressed to the nines. Well, not anymore. So I told her when she was sitting in this room that if that ever happened, I would make sure that she still looked like $1 million. She's like, what happens if I don't have $1 million anymore? They'll never know. So what I did is, and then, we dress the residents. So sometimes when that person gets up at 5 or 6 or 7 in the morning, maybe they don't grab the best combination, right? So I have little hangers where it says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and every day on Friday, we go in there and spend an hour together, and I have her help me pick out the outfits. So she thinks that is like the best. I bring cranberry juice with wine glasses. She thinks we're drinking wine together and having a girls' day and cleaning out our closet. So that brings her joy. And then when everybody sees her and they go, oh, where did you get that Chanel brooch? Oh, this whole thing, that type of thing. And then she'll talk about it for an hour about how she remembers that her dad is a judge and that her mother used to go to Paris for the summer and she would go there with her best friend. And she tells me that story, and now she's in her happy place. And when those things happen is when she has her best days. Those are the best moments because she's included, she has her independence, she has purpose, and she feels like she belongs, like with all her friends that are back there. So those are like the benefits. Does that kind of answer your question?
I'm thinking about the people who are still in independent living, and other than texting, because, you turn your ringer off and forget where you put your phone, that's not
Yeah.
gonna help. Anything else come to mind kind of on the surface for helping people stay on track?
To stay on task.
Or even recognize which task needs to follow the previous one.
Yeah, if it's like a phone thing where they turn it off and that's not something, because to be honest, phones, for even me, like I haven't had a phone my whole life. My kids are maybe a different story, but maybe for some of us it's only been, 20 years maybe that we've had a phone and relied on that. Color coding, little old school, put a magnet on the refrigerator like a grocery list, and color code everything. Green means go, so maybe highlight green is getting up and getting dressed, and you highlight that in green, and then yellows, and then maybe red is bedtime for the end of the day. Remember to take your hearing aids out, or take your medication, or drink some water. Our brain forgets when we're thirsty. Just a little reminder, and hydration is great for the brain, yes.
And who determines if the patient goes to memory care? Is it a doctor or is it kids or?
Do we have doctors that are there?
What's
I
the
mean, who
criteria?
determines it? What's the criteria for being placed into memory care?
So the criteria, like I said before, is completely up to you. What I would say to people is safety, because you can live and not remember where you're at. It doesn't matter. You can live here. You might need help getting around, or for safety reasons, right? We have a lot of people that are in AL, assisted living. They don't know it's Sunday, but they're very capable of getting, and they make their coffee and they sit on their couch and then they go to bingo and then they do this, and they're not exit seeking, right? So they're still safe to be in assisted living. Once they are ambulatory and walking around and not knowing, I gotta go get the kids, I gotta go to the bus stop, and they're trying to get out, and I mean, we've had people here at Village on the Green, how many people have seen that, where you're like, oh, I'm getting a little nervous, because Jack is just walking all the way down to the thing where he's driving his car and he thought he was going to California. Well, that's when we start having an issue. There's not really, it's all set on who you are and what you want, what's best for you. I would love for you guys not to be scared about that either. Like, one day to go over there to see how many people you know and all the fun that we have. I mean, I have somebody that has invented simulators for the astronauts. He's invented that system and has traveled with astronauts. We have an FBI agent, we have lawyers, we have these incredible, amazing people. And what do? Well, that person tells us about what he invented in a lecture like this, and he does it with all of our neighbors. And it's super cool, like the things that he does and the things that we put on. Randy's sneaking back there, our security officer, that has played police officer many times to stop a debate, right? He'll come over and play the part. Like somebody came in my room and took all my clothes. Yeah, it was a laundry person, but let's file a complaint. And Randy's here and he knows everybody by name, and we take it serious because they're still people. We're still who we are, right? That's what I tell staff members, like, well, yes, just join the journey, because if somebody went into your closet, wouldn't you think somebody just took all your clothes? Yes. So, yes, there are different components. If you ever wanted to like dive deeper into that, Carla and I could talk to you about that if you know somebody. But that's why we have home health. That's why we have all of our friends. We have to rely on the people that are here too to keep us. If that's something that you know somebody, or even for yourself, like, I want to stay in my own home as long as possible. Start talking to your friends about that, because then when you're in the art class and you're painting the wall and not the paper, maybe Lynn will say, hey, the paper, right? We'll help each other out.
What if you don't have a spouse? What if you're a single person?
We have a lot of single people that had no children, and maybe just, we have a person that has like I think it's an aunt, and so that happens. I mean, obviously there's a POA that you would get, and all the legal stuff that you would need to have somebody make those clinical decisions for you.
Well, how long can you stay in your apartment?
I mean, what we've told people, you can stay in your apartment as long as you're safe. You can stay in your apartment and not know it's Sunday, right? And you have people, you can have meals brought to you. You can have friends say, hey, Lynn, I haven't seen you in a couple days, we're gonna go have lunch. If people start talking and saying, like, she's not doing well, she's walking out in the middle of the night, then that's when we have an issue where we want you to live as long as you can and not get hurt and fall down the stairs or get stuck in the elevator or whatever could happen here. So those are the times that we start thinking, maybe we need to think of memory care. Not so that you can stop coming here or stop doing fun things. It's just now at 3 o'clock in the morning when you think you're picking up groceries, you're not gonna get stuck in the gator pond, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna fall or something.
So if we have friends or neighbors that we know well, and we know that they don't have a family that can support and make decisions for them, what happens in here at Village on the Green when we think that someone is experiencing cognitive decline? What could we do to make sure that somebody's looking at them?
I think you do know, I would love to pick your brain more, because maybe we need to have more programming and stuff for people like that, so that we can maybe get a nurse in there to see what's going on, and tap into that. But Pam from Home Health would definitely be your person, because she could quickly do an evaluation. She can look into the personal information, like if there's a brother, sister, cousin, second removed, twice married type of person, that anybody that can find out what's going on. And if nobody has family or anybody, then you can get a court appointed guardian. So somebody that wouldn't be just biased and saying, like, they have this much money, here's how much their bills are, I'll make sure the check gets written, this is what their will says, this is what their not last rites, hang on, the Catholic's coming out of me, your living will of this is what I want. So somebody is there in a professional capacity to speak for that person.
So sort of if I have a very good neighbor and I am seeing that they are slowly declining in what they're doing, and I have concern, rather than me taking on the caretaker position, I would need to call Pam and say, perhaps we need a wellness check. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would run it by her. There's a phone call, I think they even have a QR code where you can do it and just say, or maybe even a voicemail, say, hey, I'm just a concerned neighbor. I've noticed this, this, and this. Can someone just check to make sure that she's still safe at home? I don't see family. I've known her for a year. This is super different, because it could just be a UTI. It could be a blood sugar drop. It could be lots of things. It could be that she fell at home and never told anybody and she's got a brain bleed. Like, there could be 100 different reasons. It's not always ship them over to Kelly, she's got dementia. That's not always the case. And even if they do have a diagnosis with dementia, there's things that we can do before you get there. And I think that's the component where you guys come into play. Because say you do see your neighbor, right? And you notice that she's just not the same, and you're thinking about it constantly. Maybe instead of thinking about it, maybe invite her over so you can pick her brain a little bit more and see what's going on. Maybe she just had a loss in the family and she's just not quite right, or maybe she's been drinking that day and she's fine, but the day you've seen her at the mailbox, she's just had one too many at happy hour. I don't know. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And along that line, and I'm sorry guys, I just have to ask this question. There have been opportunities where you see that someone is confrontational or bullying kind of behavior toward other people. It may not be physical abuse or verbal abuse, but emotional abuse. In order for us to feel safe here as a neighbor, so Pam would still be the person that we call?
Absolutely. And then I'm always available too. Pam and I work on a lot of projects together. We do things outside the community as well for dementia. Do a lot of speaking engagements, and we learn a lot together. If she sometimes needs, hey Kelly, I need you to come over with me and find out something, and I can pick up on things. But anger is part of dementia too, unfortunately. It's one of the side effects of, and I'm not really sure, I think it has a lot to do with knowing that you're doing this, and you're upset with yourself, and you're upset with this is what I'm,
Well, like, I see a gentleman very often get very frustrated with the servers in the dining room. And not quite sure how to say easy, touch him, I don't wanna get that.
So you're not sure if he has a decline cognitively, or?
I don't know the man personally,
Okay.
but I have on a number of occasions see him be very confrontational to a server.
Yeah, those things are hard, because like I always try to fix problems. Like, number one, maybe that's a server that's, maybe they need to switch servers to see if he has a better rapport with somebody. If he does have a cognitive change, it could remind him of somebody that wasn't as nice as he wanted to be, and maybe he's already growing some kind of resentment or some kind of thing from the past. You could try to, maybe if maybe you could butt in if he's like upset, like, no, I said I wanted cream in my coffee and he's getting upset. And then you could just say, hey, Joe,
I've got it.
you know what I heard? I heard that they have a new cream called, a new coffee shop down the road. It's called Foxtail. Have you ever heard about it? Divert the conversation. Sometimes that will help somebody to take a breath. I know that happens with me when I'm trying to be in between my kids, and then I'm like, my phone will ring and I'm like, okay, now I can think about what I just said, and now I'm not upset because I thought about it. It's really not that big of a deal. I can get another cup of coffee.
So
That's what I was looking for.
if a resident gets upset, gets irate, and, any of the team members are witnessing that, don't they kind of confer and say, let's keep an eye on Mr. Smith, he doesn't seem quite right, let's, you know, I mean, isn't there a mechanism where that meeting takes place?
Well, I would love for everybody here to be DACE or DACE trained, which is a virtual dementia class that I teach, or some kind of dementia. Everybody in the whole campus does an 8-hour on Relias. It's a computer work. So yes, we have a clinical meeting that I'm in every single morning. Unfortunately, you guys are not in the healthcare system, right? You guys are independent. This is your home. So we don't say, Lynn, Sue, did this. We don't go over that detailed stuff. But if a server, seeing that somebody was not having a moment or having a moment, they should report it to their supervisor and then get back to us so that we can kind of help that situation. I mean, there are some people that I know that have, you know, they've had a really rocky, maybe couple of months, and their temper is up, but, you know, and I mean, you probably have seen it, you probably are experiencing that firsthand, and that's why you're saying something. But I think that also too is if you do see something like that happen, maybe ask to speak to somebody. I don't know if like Juan, Orlando, all the people that are here say, hey, just FYI, Kelly just flew off the handle, and I don't think it was appropriate. Maybe somebody needs to check on them, and then they can go ahead and make that happen.
And they do.
Do they?
They do, they do. What happens here, which is very interesting, is they do have weekly meetings, and we are independent, so they're not hyper-vigilant over all of us. But our housekeepers, the transportation guys, you know, the trolley drivers, everybody, all the staff that interacts with us as independent people is aware, and they do have a meeting once a week where if any of them are seeing something unusual consistently, then a name will be brought up to Pam, and then hopefully, you know, there'll be a wellness check.
That's true. I do. How many know Maritza? Everybody know her? She's awesome. I don't know how many times she's called me after work and says, hey Kelly, do you know this person? And I said, oh yeah, I know that person. And then she'll say, I'm really worried because she said this, this, and this. And the next day I have gone to visit them and figured out what the problem was. And so everybody here that works here is so devoted and passionate about, you guys are our little family. Like, we're all kind of a family, right? Like, so yes, Randy, I mean, I don't know how many high fives I give him. We have a high five system that we do. And we can kind of celebrate somebody that's done some great stuff. Randy's always getting a high five for me. I mean, I left, I think, Friday, and there was a big tree branch that fell. And all I could think about is somebody on their golf cart, or, you know, it was raining and it was kind of hard to see. So I said, oh my gosh, I probably should have stopped myself. And I called him, he says, I got it, I'll take care of it. Is that security? No, but it's safety, it's a we care. But just like if anybody else had something, like I just reported somebody that I've never seen limp before, and now they're limping a little bit. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't have a fall that they either forgot about, or they're thinking, I'll be fine, you know?
So it's 4 o'clock now.
Ooh.
Kelly, you did a tremendous job. I
Thank you guys so
appreciate
much for coming.
We are okay, next month, put on your calendar, September 17th. We're going to do, it's called about in order to have a healthy brain, which we want to have, right? What can we do to keep our brain healthy? There are 6 pillars that we take a look at. And I'm going to talk about 2 of them next month. And that's mental stimulation and socialization. Very, very important. How we take care of ourselves, what we do for mental stimulation, socialization, how it affects our brain, how it affects possibly keeping dementia lower, even though we have aging organs. So I hope you come to my lecture next month. Kelly, thrilled to death she came to do this.
I'm
Hopefully
gonna come to your lecture.
she's gonna
next
come
time.
again and do another kind of, and keep us familiar with what goes on in our community and basically what's going on in our heads.
I'll give you one last tip, what you guys can try too, which I do this all the time. Listen, be really, really good listeners when you're around people, right? If somebody says, oh yeah, I can't wait till next month when my grandkids come, and they say it over and over again. Well, when that month comes, or even if it hasn't come yet, and you don't know what to talk about, because they're still looking for their cat, right? You have no idea. It's like, hey, Jean, tell me about your grandkids. When are they coming? Okay, because that is obviously something that's, just be really good listeners, because that sometimes will create excitement. It makes them seen and heard. Like, who doesn't say, oh my God, you remembered? Oh yes, let me show you a picture, right? So that's a helpful hint of a conversation. Thank you guys so much for coming.
And don't forget, you're one step from being that other person. Be